Detailed coverage of the IESA Vision Summit, ladies and gentlemen, as India embarks on its journey to become a global hub for semiconductor manufacturing. What should policymakers look at next to boost investments in the space and to provide ecosystem support? This even as disruptions are leading to volatile times globally. Well, like I said, at the IESA Vision Summit, it's being currently organized by IESA. The focus was there on the next set of policies that stakeholders need to bring about, policymakers need to bring about. And of course, it interested stakeholders and companies from not just India, but abroad as well, who were attending the summit. Remember, India is giving support to semiconductor industry via the India Semiconductor Mission and has attracted investments from key players like Tata Electronics, Micron, CG Power and Keynes. These are some of the companies which are investing in the semiconductor space. And India intends to roll out the first Made in India chip sometime this year. And of course, it looks at achieving self-sufficiency in the semiconductor space. And there are several projects which are currently going on. 5 projects in total, but the recent ones include Tata Electronics and PSMC unit, which is coming up in Gujarat. And there's also another unit by the Tatas that's coming up in Assam. CG Power Renesas, that unit is coming up in Gujarat. And of course, the proposal by Keynes also got approved last year with a total investment of over 3,000 crores. Definitely exciting times, but the big question is, what are policymakers thinking in terms of boosting investments and most importantly, giving support to develop the local ecosystem around semiconductors and to give a boost to supply chain? While speaking at the event, Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel said that Gujarat is working towards becoming a high-tech center of India, and initiatives such as Make in India and Local to Global, and of course the value chain he was speaking, that needs to be integrated. Let's listen in to what he had to say at the summit.
Make in India, make for the world और लोकल टू ग्लोबल वैल्यू चेन को संकलित करके वैश्विक मांग की आपूर्ति में भारत और गुजरात सबसे आगे रहे, इसी दिशा में प्रधानमंत्री के दिशा दर्शन में हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। भारत सरकार की तर्ज पर हमने भी राज्य में गुजरात स्टेट इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स मिशन कार्यरत किया है। अधिकतर सेमीकंडक्टर कंपनियां ने अपने यूनिट्स की स्थापना के लिए भारत में गुजरात को अपनी पहली पसंद बनाया है। वर्तमान में भारत में स्थापित होने वाले 5 में से 4 सेमीकंडक्टर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट्स गुजरात में स्थापित हो रहे हैं। हाल ही में ग्लोबल कैपेबिलिटी सेंटर पॉलिसी की भी घोषणा की है। इसमें प्रदेश में एआई, मशीन लर्निंग और एनालिटिक्स जैसी टेक्नोलॉजी के उद्योग और स्टार्टअप को बढ़ावा मिलेगा। हमने इनोवेशन को बल देने के लिए गिफ्ट सिटी में एआई सेंटर ऑफ एक्सेलेंस भी कार्यरत किए हैं। इन सब के कारण आने वाले समय में ग्लोबल सेमीकंडक्टर वैल्यू चेन में गुजरात का स्थान अवश्य ही अग्रिम रहेगा।
All right, so that's the Gujarat Chief Minister speaking about giving a policy boost to the semiconductor space. But the big announcement, ladies and gentlemen, that came from Tata Electronics, which announced an MOU with Himax Technologies, which is a Taiwan-based company that's into fabless display driver ICs and semiconductor products. And of course, Taiwan's PSMC to develop display solutions and ultra-low power AI sensing products and technologies for the India and global market. So let's listen into what Randhir Thakur, the CEO and MD of Tata Electronics, said post that announcement came in.
It is now my privilege to introduce my dear friends and trusted partners, Martin Chu, President, PSMC, a veteran of the semiconductor industry with over 30 years of experience in semiconductor manufacturing. Jordan Wu, co-founder, CEO and President, Himax Technologies, a leading display IC design company, probably the only customer on the stage today. Their expertise and collaboration will have far-reaching impact on India's semiconductor mission. Today, I'm delighted to announce a signing of a MOU between Tata Electronics, PSMC and Himax to to revolutionize India's display products and technology ecosystem. With PSMC's proven manufacturing technology, Tata Electronics will manufacture display chips for IMAX right here in Dhulera, Gujarat.
And we caught up with Ashok Chandak, the president of IESA. He said that the semicon manufacturing supply chain is expected to scale to $420 billion by 2030, and India can easily take 10% of this market. On the tariffs front, he said that while India may be insulated in the near term, but global impact of Donald Trump's tariff imposition on the sector will definitely create turbulence.
That the international cooperation is increasing a lot. There is a strong interest from both sides, India as well as outside of India, to come together, to work together and develop the business opportunities. Number two, the kind of response we have seen from the 1,500 people, that includes all top-most industries in the country, including the big industries, those who have decided to set up the manufacturing operations here. This is Tata, Micron, Kane, CG Power, Tissot and all those. The startup community, the medium, small enterprises, the academia, all put together in a complete good mix. So that's what's going on.
Basis the developments that we are seeing globally, especially in the United States, with Donald Trump announcing that the CHIPS Act could probably be revoked. That's essentially what he stated this morning. Then, of course, the tariff plan that he has, that reciprocal tariffs will start getting implemented from April the 2nd. What are the changes that you see in the global semiconductor industry, and how will India particularly be impacted?
So my view is, if Mr. Trump's administration does what they are saying informally in terms of applying the tariff, it is going to create a major turbulence across the semiconductor industry globally. Because the semiconductor manufacturing supply chain is a very complex task. And for any single chip which you want to manufacture, it touches at least 15 to 20 countries or locations. So it is not straightforward. And now if you are applying tariff, that means you are creating some issue with some other countries. They will also retaliate. They may retaliate. So in a way, it's going to create a global turbulence. It's going to impact everywhere. Two things can happen. One is the other countries can also apply the tariffs. Just reciprocal, one country, the other can apply. Number two, there is a high possibility some of the companies can move their operations in United States. Because one is they are facing tariff.
That's also what Donald Trump has stated, that if you move your companies to the US, then there will be no tariffs.
Correct. Obviously, if you do in India, in their own country, so there is no tariff, you are doing local manufacturing. Maybe they get additional benefit because the incentives what they may provide.
So how do you see India particularly get impacted?
So my view is like this. Today, semiconductors India duty is zero. So if it is done on a reciprocal basis, I think there should be zero duty. But even if they apply, let's say, 25% duty across the board, just an imagined scenario, we have no impact in short run.
Meanwhile, semiconductor company Infineon also came up with an announcement. It has signed its first agreement in India with CDIL Semiconductors to supply silicon wafer for manufacturing of power chips in the country. CDIL will initially be making power chips for Indian customers, and then it is looking at overseas opportunities as well. We caught up with Infineon's chairman and MD, C.A. Shua. He said that the India market will be very huge, especially so far as the semiconductor space is concerned, because of the country's GDP growth, and the company will continue to talking to partners for setting up manufacturing here.
I see the incentive that the India government is putting, which encourage a lot of local semiconductor company building up, and also all the family-owned conglomerate where they are also putting some of their strategy into semiconductor. I think this is a positive side because this company, they know the local market very well. They know what the end market require for Indian market, and that if we are able to partner with them, given their knowledge on the local requirement, given our knowledge on building semiconductor, that will be a perfect match. Plus the fact that India market will be very huge in the future, given that the country is growing, the GDP is growing, the middle income is growing, and also having the vision of being a developed country by 2047, that create a lot of demand for semiconductor in electronics. tariffs.
Absolutely. But Mr. Shua, there is a semiconductor race happening globally. Today, Donald Trump stated that there might be a revocation of the CHIPS Act. We don't know whether that will happen or not. China is also pumping in monies into the ecosystem. And of course, you have India. How do you really see India globally positioned in that semiconductor race?
I think, first of all, India has its own domestic market, which will be big enough to encourage a company to look into this market internally rather than to go outside from India, because India itself will be a huge market by itself.
And US-based Jabil, which is also a prominent Apple supplier, too made a big announcement. The company is all set to establish its second facility in India, in Gujarat. The expansion is aimed to enhance the semiconductor industry's growth to create jobs. We caught up with Matt Crowley, the executive vice president of the company. Now, Mr. Crowley spoke with us on some key growth drivers for India in the semicon space and India's position amongst global players.
We've had a lot of success in India. We have a site in Pune which operates extremely well. We feel like this region has the right labor profile. And for us, we have customers who today, Malaysia is a destination that they're not necessarily willing to go to. And so we feel like India is exactly the right spot for us to build and scale out this capability.
So when you talk about scaling up, you also mentioned during your address that you have plans of opening many more factories in Gujarat, and that is going to add to your 100 sites globally. Can you give
Not sure I said many more factories. If we're successful, we will expand in Gujarat. We'd like to do it not just around silicon photonics, but around the rest of our manufacturing capabilities and customers, because India is a destination that a number of customers would like to be in. For all the reasons I named. Great.
As we had disclosed during Gujarat Semicon, we are now expanding in India. We had signed 2 MOUs, with one with Gujarat State, one with Trichy. In Gujarat, we are bringing now silicon photonics, which is the next generation semiconductor technology and photonics technology.
Well, time for us to slip into a quick break, but lots more coming up on the other side. Don't go anywhere.